On, the microphone is on, the rugby is on. How's everybody going? Crusaders taking on Moana Pasifika, both sides still alive with this final round of Super Rugby. If the draw win tomorrow, it's not going to matter the result of this one, but hey, maybe the Crusaders get eliminated tonight. Got to be around for that one. I can't see it happening. I think the Crusaders are going to romp home. But, yeah, we'll wait and see. How is everybody doing? I can see Jimmy's already here, and he says, McTanish is on the call for this game. Yeah, now I know who you're talking about when I heard his voice, because you mentioned him the other day. Now I actually know who you're talking about. Daramundi is along. How's it going, man? Rebels, eh? What do you reckon about the Rebels, Daramundi, mate? That's more closer to home for you than it is for me. But that was certainly big news out from Australia yesterday. I look forward to Australian rugby being forced back into amateurism. It will be an interesting one to see what happens with Aussie rugby at 4 teams potentially. No Gazza tonight, Frankie. He was here earlier. He has gone home. He has gone home for an early night, basically. He had dinner with us. He has dinner with us most Friday nights. Thoughts on the NZR rugby vote? I'll be honest, I haven't been following it close enough, but what I did see was that the unions have basically opted to go with the status quo more so than the recommendations in that Pilkington report, which basically said that NZ Rugby is out of date and needs a overhaul. My son is on the couch, by the way. Who are you backing for this one, mate? Who do you think is going to win?
Crusaders.
Who do you want to win?
Moana Pasifika.
There we go. He's a smart kid. Thinks the Crusaders are going to win. Wants Moana Pasifika to win. I am in the same camp. We have just had kickoff. I am already at 25 seconds now. Quite close to home considering you live in regional Victoria. There you go. Disappointing, but what can you do really? I suppose that's it, eh? That's it. If the team's been losing money perennially and yeah, they haven't got like a billionaire to bail them out, what do you do? Not quite the status quo. It's a compromise between now and the fully independent board. Yeah, I think the article that I read said it was like more the status quo rather than the kind of more revolutionary overhaul that the report was suggesting.
What's going wrong now? Knock on?
Yeah. Crusaders are going to milk penalties against my Moana Pasifika boys. Not looking forward to it. You may well be right. Their scrum has been going good. If there's one thing that you could say about the Crusaders this season, the scrum is still pretty solid. Minute and a half in, Crusaders feed just inside the Moana Pasifika half. It's already gone down and it's a penalty to the Crusaders already. That didn't take long. Straight down, says the ref. He's not mucking around. There's no short arm. There's no reset. Straight to the penalty. Crusaders are opting for touch. I guess they would like to pick up a bonus point. It probably won't make a difference, but it could make a difference if they win and the Drua lose and the Force win, then the bonus point could be the difference. If they were to get one and the Force didn't. Oh, what a line-out steal from Moana Pasifika. That gets them out of jail a bit. No, they've dropped the ball. This game's all over the shop so far. But yeah, the bonus point could make a difference. But
Yeah, you said it's too soon.
yeah, I called it too soon. 2.5 minutes. And Moana Pasifika really could have used that nice kind of easy early exit from that line-out steal. They are already in desperation defense mode.
Yeah, we're only 2 minutes
Have Moana Pasifika ever beaten the Crusaders, Tama? That's a good question, but I don't think so. They've beaten the Hurricanes. They've beaten the Brumbies. They've beaten the Waratahs. Who have they beaten this year from the New Zealand teams? In a game like this, do you take the points and focus on the win or go for the bonus point? Frankie, it looks like the Crusaders are going for the jugular. So that's showing a bit of confidence, I guess. But you're right, they do need to win the game first and foremost. The odds of the bonus point coming into play are pretty slim, I reckon, because Drua are big-time favourites against the Rebels. So that could, if that happens, then the bonus point doesn't matter. And the Brumbies will probably be favourites against the Force anyway. So even if the Drua lost, Crusaders won, and then the Force lost, the bonus point is again not going to matter. So it's only a very specific situation, I think, where the bonus point would actually come into play. But yeah, we'll see. 15 phases. Here they go. Goes Joe Moody. Hotham with the support line. He's been pretty good at that this year, doing what good halfbacks do. Do the Crusaders get a win with a... Do the Crusaders get in with a win? David, it depends on other results. If they win and the Drua win, then the Crusaders are gone burger. The Drua still have their fate in their own hands. If they win, then nobody can overtake them.
Not even the Blues.
Say that again?
Even the Blues can't overtake them.
The Blues are already in front. Blues are number 1. These guys are fighting it out for 8th spot. Moana Pasifika's defense has been good the last 3 or 4 games. So far, so good in this game as well. They've been under the pump pretty much the entire first 5 minutes, eh? Brumbies Crusaders quarterfinal. That would be interesting. Who would you back in that one? The Brumbies almost got overturned by the Crusaders a few weeks ago. Oh, it's messy ball from the Crusaders. They don't get to set the maul, but they did win the ball just. Oh, here goes Cody Taylor. No, it wasn't. He was running the support line. Ryan Crotty, the veteran, gets a big cheer from the crowd. Oh, that was a bit of a... Oh, did he lose it? That looked in for all money. It was a bit of a tinny one. Lock versus halfback in the halfback one. That doesn't happen very often. That looked like a try for all money, didn't it?
Lock versus halfback?
Yeah, exactly.
Halfback wins?
That
is
line out.
impossible.
Leo Willie did really well just to get a hand to that one. No Gazza, David. No, he's hit it home. He wanted to have an early night. Oh, just flicked out over the line. So close for the Crusaders, but they still have another chance because Moana Pasifika were offside. Surely the Crusaders score here. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
They're going to score?
unless Moana Pasifika steal it.
We need to have a stream with Gazza and Tony. That's true. Those two legends in one room. Is there enough space on the internet for such a thing?
Could get like
There goes Leo Willie. Oh, they've lost the ball again, the Crusaders. Then Moana Pasifika have banked it forward. What the hell? Every time the Crusaders make a mistake, Moana Pasifika just make one straight back to give them the ball back. Eventually the Crusaders are going to score if you keep giving them chances. Goodness me.
Now what's going on?
Kia ora, April Tui. How's it going? April too, my wife heard your name mentioned when we were streaming the other day, and she's like, man, she's still around. She's like, that's so cool that she's been like with your channel for years, basically since the start. Like even she knows who you are, which is pretty cool. Because the missus doesn't pay much attention to what goes on here. Kids sound like he just felt like dinosaurs were real with the lock versus halfback. Whereas dinosaurs are real, at least they were. What do you think about dinosaurs?
They're real.
Dinosaurs are real. There you go. Well, at least they were. Got a bad feeling about a Crusaders scrum card here. If Angus Gardner runs out of patience with the Moana Pasifika front row. Keep it up, Sikopi. He's been told to use it. There you go, Jimmy. They did all right. There goes Ryan Crotty, the veteran. Oh, man. The Crusaders are just short. Burke, intercept by Samoa Falau. What a play. For God's sake, exit. Get an exit.
Yes, kick it. What are they doing? Kick it.
Go box kick, Jonathan. Box kick. Hey, it's a penalty in Moana Pasifika. Oh my gosh, how the heck did they survive that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Crusaders made multiple mistakes there, but they had them under the pump so much.
Wow.
Ian says, what if the Rebels go all the way through to the final win? Outside chance, but fairy tale ending for the club. Ian, yeah, it would be a miracle. It would be like the stuff that movies are made of, wouldn't it? Out of money, no future, never made the playoffs before, will not have a home game, and then, yeah, that'd be a hell of a way to get it done. Still around, and I she remembers you. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Like I never know what she's paying attention to on this channel. I know it's not usually a lot.
She's just watching your Chinese videos.
There you go. She's watching the Chinese videos with more interest. That's my missus. 2 cents on tour.
Oh, why have they lost that?
At least they've still got the ball. That tackle looked a bit high, but anyway. Morning out of South Africa, where you're upset this weekend. Where's your upset this weekend? The Super Rugby or the URC? I haven't actually seen many of the URC lineups yet. I don't know if any teams are fielding weakened sides in this final regular season round. It was interesting to see the Super Rugby teams to a team have all gone full strength, pretty much, more or less. There's a few teams whose positions are locked in, who could have been forgiven for not sending certain players, but everyone is keeping it pretty much full strength. How are the URC teams lining up? Is Trump getting convicted a big story in New Zealand? I think I saw it on the front page of one of the news sites, but I don't tend to click on much in the way of politics, I will admit.
Offside?
They are going to check that tackle from earlier? It did look kind of dodgy at the time. It didn't look good.
Hope it's a penalty.
Held up brawl. I think more teams will be looking to make the soak tackle. Jimmy, I'm surprised more teams haven't already kind of implemented that, eh? Like when they introduced that rule, they also introduced the 50-22 and the goal line. Yeah, this was the one. Oh, swinging arm from Moody, eh? He's going to be in trouble here. Is there much of a dip? I mean, was that enough to mitigate? I don't know. He's going to be at least a yellow card here, I reckon. That doesn't look good.
High, bit
That
too
doesn't
high.
look good.
Yellow card.
Yellow card. How did you survive walking around China on just milky coffee, Neil? Yeah, I was pretty well fed, to be honest. I saw you commented on my video the other day. That was good of you. Thank you, mate, for doing that. Across the Yangtze River Bridge, which the Soviets helped the Chinese build way back in the day.
Naughty boys care.
The naughty boys here. That's where you'll be going.
Hey?
Hey?
I'm not playing rugby.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not a rugby player.
Oh, maybe. Wonder if there will still be a super round, Tama. Yeah, well, I think the reason there was a super round is because there was some kind of incentive from the Victorian government. I feel like it was a subsidised thing. Hold on a second, mate. I think that's why they did it. It was a tourism thing because it's pre-NRL and pre-AFL season starting, and they wanted to get people into the city for Melbourne tourism. So
Oh, I knew it. They lost the ball. I knew it.
I think maybe not. Yeah, they buggered up the line out. What are you doing, Moana Pasifika? You got the Crusaders a man down. You had an attacking line out. All you got to do is secure your ball. Randy Viper, here you go, man. Up the Moana. Give the cheats a red trivia time. Well, I got some trivia waiting for halftime. So I'll see you then. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Very kind of you.
Illegal clean out? What's the illegal clean out? Never heard of it.
I think the Lions might upset the Stormers. Well, it's all to play for the Lions, eh? They are one of the few teams in that kind of, what are they on, like 49 points? There's a few teams, they're kind of like Super Rugby at the moment. There's a few teams that can make it.
Grabbing his leg.
Yeah, it's a bit of, I don't want to use the word that I'm going to use because you'll tell me off for swearing.
Yes, I will.
It's a bit of shithousery.
Oh,
Chill. Here we go. Moana Pasifika on the board. Taking the lead mostly against the run of play, but that's 3 points on the board while the Crusaders got a man in the bin. That was pretty swingy if it was a red last week, Ducks Quack. Yeah, we'll have to see. You've got to feel for Rob Penny when you're veteran All Black, loose head prop or something dumb like that. But anyway. Is Moana based in Auckland, David? Oh, no. They've also lost one of their locks. Okay, the Crusaders. Yeah, I think traditionally their home stadium has been Mount Smart Stadium, where the Warriors play rugby league. And I believe, this is just personal belief, is that they thought, because there's a big Pacific Island population in certain areas of Auckland, Auckland generally, but in particular areas. And those people showed out in force to support the Tongan rugby league team in particular. They played out at Mount Smart, so I think it was a big assumption that the Pacific population in Auckland would suddenly start supporting Moana Pasifika. But it hasn't really taken hold, not just yet anyway. But it's been kind of hard to... I mean, a lot of those people would have already been Blues fans. It's hard to get them to dump their old team for a new team, which doesn't have any star players and getting done most weeks. So, but they're maybe slowly building. They played a few games at Mount Smart this year, a few games in Northland. They played a great game in the wet in Tonga. I think they need more games in the Pacific personally. But anyway, I've gone on a rant. You just asked me if they're based in Auckland. Yes, they're based in Auckland. Jimmy, you and me are on the same page with you got to feel sorry for Rob Penny. That's just dumb to give away that penalty. But anyway. Which club rugby do you like the best, European or Southern Hemisphere? Well, Neil, mate, I mean, the Blues are my team. So watching Super Rugby is kind of like my bread and butter. But I'll admit I've been pretty... Is captivated the right word? Taken by European rugby in the last few years. There's some proper ding-dong battles and some proper teams up north, so... And then the South Africans going to the URC has kind of even created a new dynamic there as well. So it's been pretty fascinating. Oh, that shot also looked a touch high. But anyways, Moana Pacific is under a heap of pressure. They need to get themselves an exit again. Here we go. William Havili will kick it out. Fine touch. Yes, there we go. At least they're out of the 22.
Why do you want them to kick it out? The Crusaders are probably going to get the ball.
They'll get the line out, but that's all right. Moana Pacifica's chance to set the defensive line and get out of their own 22.
Yeah, but if they kick it out, they're going to probably, the Crusaders probably can. But you see that guy down there? It's kind of long pass it to him, he can just run all the way down. You know, give him a little boot. A little bit.
Moana Pacifica would have played a game in Hawke's Bay this year, but Napier were redoing the pitch at McLean. Oh, is that right? Didn't know that. They got a good crowd up in Whangarei. Yeah, I think a lot of those places outside of the regular Super Rugby centres would love to see some Super Rugby. It's a disappointing one that teams like the Blues don't take more games to Northland. Like, they're essentially surrendering that fan base to Moana Pasifika. Same with like the Chiefs and them. Like, very few of those teams take more than one game outside of their regular centre, right? I know it's probably less economically viable to do so, but then you also lose touch with those fan bases. Part of the reason that the NPC was such a big thing is because it was local, you know, your local teams. Anyway. South Africa doing better in the URC than Super Rugby. Yeah. They've had a hell of a lot better record, haven't they? Is this the decision from the Moody card? Yellow card. Ooh, he's lucky. There's a drop in height. It's not much of a drop in height, but I guess it's enough. He's a lucky boy. Yeah, I mean, the travel factor is obviously the big one. I remember way back when I did a video about the travel factor in Super Rugby. Oh, here comes the Crusaders maul. This is trouble. This is without their loose head prop, and it's try time. Despite the fact they're 14 men, they just got to try. Ethan Blackadder, bloody hell. Crusaders doing Crusaders things. But yeah, I did a video way back in the day about the travel factor to see if teams who just had a long haul flight were, like, did they lose more often? If you don't go have a shower, your mum's going to get mad.
Yeah, I know, but one more square world and you deserve a spanking.
Bro, you just be careful. Go. Yeah, and I remember looking at it, and the travel factor didn't seem to be that bad, at least in the immediate like game after. Like, especially teams returning home after travel didn't lose, but I mean, it was certainly a bigger deal having to do a 4-week tour of Australia and New Zealand for the South African teams than it was the reverse. Like, for New Zealand teams to go 2 weeks in South Africa, right? So, but yeah, it does seem to work better the current way, doesn't it? Although I miss the games. I do miss those games. Anyway. Hurricanes play one game outside Wellington for season. Yeah, exactly. It's not that much, eh? Travelling west to east is far more challenging. West to east. Right. I can't remember how I looked at it back in the video. If it was the... Anyway. It didn't seem like as much of a factor. Just genuine home and away wasn't drastically affected by the travel. That's the one thing I remembered. The home teams usually still won at the normal rate, even if they'd been travelling back. And the away teams tended to still lose. Yeah. It's been a while. Often Kiwi teams coming back from South Africa before still one game after travelling. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There wasn't like a... You would expect if like home teams win 75% of the games and travel factor sucks, you would expect that if the team is at home having travelled, then the rate would drop, right? It might be like 65. Like, it's home teams by 75%, but 65 if they've been travelling long distance, but it wasn't. It was more or less the same. That's what I remember from the sample I took one year, like 2018 or 19 or something stupid. Anyway, I got too much time on my hands back in those days. I only had one kid back in those days, so that was a lot different. Wano Reese or Havili? Was Havili injured? I feel like Havili's injured. Reese, I think, is just on rest. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Crusaders players left the lineup before it was over. Watch Leo Willie. A technically supposed to stay in the lineup till after it's over. I guess they get away with what they can get away with, eh? Bloody Crusaders. Randy Viper will be throwing stuff at the TV. Ooh, that was a bit high. Oh, it was Kepu as well. Cullen Grace having a big carry. Crotty's better anyway. Why not an 80k celebration drinks? Yeah, that's true. I haven't celebrated any of the milestone ones for ages. 100k, we'll do something if we ever get there. Give me a couple of years. Give me the next World Cup. We'll get to 100k. I used to really pay more attention to those milestones. I guess I'm just getting old. But it's a nice milestone to achieve. So if you guys have subbed and help us get to 80k, I appreciate you. $100 shots of beer and 100 minutes for 100k with no toilet breaks. Bro. Trying to send me... Does anyone send me to hospital? How much beer is 100 shots of beer? It's not that much beer, is it? Oh no, here goes the Crusaders Mall. Oh, I think Anisi was trying to collapse it. Anyway, he's maybe lucky that Taylor scored. It's try time, Crusaders. It's number 2. Oh, this is going to be a long day at the office if they can't stop the Crusaders Mall. Hey. Why only 13 likes with 40 viewers? Good question, Junaid. If anybody hasn't liked the stream, drop us a like. I'd appreciate it. And if you're ever just watching the normal videos, I always forget to say like and subscribe. But that stuff genuinely does help out with YouTube. 80k is a lot, April 2. Yeah, I know that's more than what we could see at Eden Park. We don't have an 80,000 seater in New Zealand, so that is genuinely pretty crazy. We used to play that drinking game in high school. No chance now that I'm in my mid-40s. So I'm also in my 40s. So, yeah, chances are pretty slim. Do you think Razor under the All Blacks will outmuscle and think Rusty Springbok side this year and the World Cup, Neil? That's a good question. I feel like Razor might go for a fairly large All Blacks pack, eh? As much as he can. I mean, Razor's Crusaders teams generally had pretty good numbers at like line out, scrum, maul defense, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that's Jason Ryan as well, but like it's kind of fundamental stuff, you know what I mean? Like I don't think he's going to go crazy left field, just flashy flair. Liam used to play Century drinking. It's bad, real bad, don't do it. Right. I don't take much convincing to not do that game, April 2, but yeah, the way you put it like that makes me also not want to do it. 100 shots of beer is about 8 cans you measured, also high. Bloody hell. 8 cans of beer in an hour. I don't think I could do that anymore. Maybe back in my heyday. Those days are long gone. Oh, the Moana Pasifika boys got a penalty to start the restart period. 25 minutes in. New Zealand Rugby and the Crusaders let the Fergus Burke go. It is an interesting one, man, with the issues we've got. I don't know issues, but like with the depth at 10. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Alex, as the Rebels are gone, do you think Super Rugby should stick to 11 teams or expand again? There's already talk about the Hawaras being the next cab off the rank. Now that's an interesting one because firstly, I feel like the Argentinian rugby union is keen to get the Hawaras back into a kind of high level competition. But it's almost like your ex broke up with you, got a new thing going with somebody else, and then after breaking up with them decides they want you back, kind of thing. That's the feeling of it, right? Like the whole thing about Super Rugby as it was breaking up was the travel's too bad, the time zones are too bad, we can't keep going, we need to keep it much more localized. Oh man, Crusaders have just stopped the Moana Pasifika attack. So yeah, that's one thing I will give a tick to Super Rugby Pacific. It's far from a perfect competition, but it certainly keeps things pretty localized. The time difference between Perth and like New Zealand is the biggest gap. Perth's kind of a little bit of an outlier, but it's still in Australia, so it's not like, like the old trips that they used to do. But if you then go back and add the Hawaras, you're reintroducing that big travel factor, the time zones factor. So I don't know. And then a lot of those players from Argentina are contracted to teams in Europe. So who is the team going to be made up of if that comes to pass, eh? Whether they should stick to 11 teams is a bit awkward because then you've always got one team on the bye. But I guess it's doable because they had bye rounds in the middle of the competition this year. I guess you just have to have each round one team has a bye. I don't know about the maths, but anyway. Burke is average, yeah. They do need an interesting. Well, they need a bit of creativity at 10, that's for sure. Because apart from DMAC, we don't really have anyone else experienced at the minute. Hawaras are the only other team in the conversation because there's no other viable place for them. Yeah, that's the problem with Argentina is they are so isolated rugby-wise. They don't have a neighbour around them who's at their level. So they're kind of just out on their own. 100 shots is about 1.5 flagons. He vomited everywhere, pissed all over the bedroom, and ate the lollies off his birthday cake I made for him. His 19th. He's 50 now. Bloody hell, if he couldn't handle it at 19, I certainly can't handle it at 40. The Sunwolves. Japan would seem like in terms of the travel factor, a better prospect than the Hawaras. You certainly have the reverse seasons issue, which the URC has in terms of like at the start of the Super Rugby season. Japan's freaking hot. Or is it the end of the Super Rugby season? Japan's really hot. I think it's the end, isn't it? Because it starts in New Zealand summer, doesn't it? But, yeah, Japan's just got their Japan League One going. So they are quite happy, I think, with their domestic competition. I don't think there's any interest from them to get into Super Rugby. Yeah. They also kind of were burned by the dealing with Super Rugby, and I don't think they want to go back. There's a chance the Crusaders end the season with a positive points difference and you have teams with worse than 100 points difference in the final. It doesn't sit right with me, Junaid. The Crusaders have genuinely lost quite a few close games, haven't they? That's part of the reason I think they're above. Who are they above? Is it Moana Pasifika that's got a better... They've got like a better win-loss ratio there? Yeah, just because they've lost so many close games. Best time zone would be for Japanese teams, but their own comp works for them. I agree, mate. 100%, Jimmy. They've only just set up their comp, and it's going, whoa, whoa! Oh, no! Has he got it? Is that a try or no? It looked like it was a try for all money, but I'm not sure. I didn't see a grounding. Moana Pasifika. TMO check. Whew. Any other island team? I don't know that there's the stock to make another island team. On-field, no try. Has he got it down? It's on a leg. It's on Quentin Strange's leg. And then it's under a hand and he's... It looks like it's a try. I think that makes the grass eventually. Hey, try time, Moana Pasifika. My gosh. Oh, The Crusaders did as good as you can to get legs and water under the ball there. Unbelievable. Would the Rebels come back like the Force did if they had a billionaire backing them, David? I reckon they would. I reckon they would. If there's one thing we've seen from rugby union generally over the last few years is that they will go where the money is. So, yeah. If Antoine Dupont came to play in the Southern Hemisphere, which team would suit his style best? 14-10. Obviously the Blues. Blues for sure. Japan League just finished. The Super Rugby could finish a couple of weeks earlier. Then post-season crossover between Japan and Super Rugby would be cool. Yeah, Joe, I think that's the closest we will ever see with regards to Japan and Super Rugby, like kind of getting back together. Is some kind of like Champions League, Champions Cup, or Cup Winners' Cup, whatever you want to call it. Like some kind of, trophy that way. I think that's the closest we'll get. Would a shorter Super Rugby season and more tests among New Zealand, Australia, Pacific nations, Fiji, Tonga, Samoa in the downtime? Problem is that's outside the test window. So a lot of those players, especially the ones based in Europe for like Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, they wouldn't get a release to play. So it might not be full strength teams, which would be an issue. We already play the Aussies enough, I think. In terms of All Blacks Wallabies games, they were trying to reduce the amount, and Rian definitely should be working. Connor can't actually show the game, sadly, because Sky New Zealand owns the broadcast rights, not just me. I only own the rights to this face. Oh no. Oh, he's just scored a try, Anisi, and now he's got himself a yellow card for a deliberate knockdown. I actually missed it. Deliberate knockdown? What did he do? I really don't like that law, but I haven't seen the incident. What does he do? Yeah, I suppose so. Halftime chat with Gazza. He is going to send a message at halftime. I haven't told him I'm streaming. Maybe I better give him a warning so he knows to, he knows that this is going to be showed to other people. Hey Gazza, you watching the Crusaders? Their maul's going pretty good. Looks like they've just got another one. I'm streaming the game. I'm doing a live stream. So if you want to send us a halftime update, feel free to send that through. Cody Taylor said, another bloody try, eh? How are mauls still allowed in rugby? I thought they were going to stop anything the Springboks dominated. Not yet, mate. Give it time, Junaid. Give it time. The maul, though, eh? It is brutal. It's a dumb law. Just get better at passing. From what I understand, and I'm not a league guy, but league does also have a deliberate knock-on law. I don't mean to talk about rugby league, but rugby league does have a deliberate knock-on law, but they only call it a deliberate knock-on if it is a blatant, like smoking gun slap of the ball. Everything else is just considered kind of accidental. So yeah, it's no way near as big a thing in league as it is in rugby. Anyway. So if the Crusaders win this game, will they be in the quarterfinals? Not necessarily. It depends on other results, but they need to win to put themselves in the position to make it anyway. April 2, the 11 for the Crusaders is Macca Springer. He's still a pretty young fella. I think he's played New Zealand under 20s and a few games of Super Rugby. Nov Mum, how's it going? Good to see you along as well. April 2 is here too. It's 21-10. Crusaders are looking pretty likely thus far. What can I say? Reckon you and Gazza need to take a trip to South Africa to watch a Bok versus AB's game, AT. Something tells me my dad is never going to travel internationally again. I could be mistaken. But, yeah, he gets a sore leg when he walks around too much. So, he's not a fan of going far. Oh, my gosh, the Moana Pasifika lineup is just awful in this first half. Dallas McLeod. Oh, what a save from Moana Pasifika. They were done. They were done. Oh, that intercept means they're still at least got a chance to exit. Get Tony for a halftime chat too. I think he's in Australia. He's going to see State of Origin. Isn't that on this weekend? Connor says, Leinster once again happy to play a weak team at home to Connacht in the final game of the season. Talk about beating your head against the wall when it comes to them learning nothing from the past few weeks. I hadn't seen their lineup. Why are they playing the B team against Connacht? Doesn't Connacht have everything to play for? Like, aren't they on like 49 points with still a chance? Where are you now, Junaid, anyway? Which part of the world? You're always kind of gallivanting around with your job. You back home, or? Hope New Zealand Super Rugby teams get to play the URC teams. That would be an interesting matchup, wouldn't it? Crusaders need to win this and every game they have if they want to win the cup again. That's true. They need to win this game, then the Drua have to lose. And, yeah, then they'll be away from home in a quarterfinal, semi-final, final. But if there's a team to do it, it'll be the Crusaders. Oh, that's the bonus point try for now. Is that Ryan Crotty? No way. Crowd loves that, and so does he. Look at that. He can still play Super Rugby. When does Geordie go to Leinster? I think it's at the start of the next URC season, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Man, Noah Hotham's pretty good, eh? Loves a wee snipe. Cullen Grace with the behind the back pass.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah, the Crusaders are smashing them, mate. It's like 26-10 so far. It's like 4 tries to 1.
Also, kind of that penalty.
Are you doing what your mum told you?
No, she didn't tell me to do anything.
Are you sure?
100%. She told me, she asked me if I was going to do it, but I will go read a book with him eventually, but I just wanted to, oh here it is.
You can watch until half time, okay?
Okay, how much longer till half time?
Look at the clock.
3 minutes.
They're saying Leinster will make 14 changes from the final. Bloody hell.
You missed it.
Oh, good. Good. Just saying, Gazza could do with a nice warmer winter. Oh, 2.5 hours to Fiji. That's what you mean. Nothing below 20 degrees. We're back in Auckland for 3 days before heading down to Welling. Oh, nice one. I will tell Gazza he needs to go to Fiji for some nice warm weather. Spend some time in a resort or something. He could do with that, I think. Maybe. When's the best time to go to Fiji, or is any time a good time to go to Fiji? I've never been. Geordie in Leinster, December 1. All right, there you go. Rian's got the answers. But as it has been pointed out, Rian should be working right now. Anyway.
Now what's going wrong?
The ball's in touch. That's going to be a line out.
No, they said I could stay up till half time. Okay, fine, I'll come.
Shut the door behind you, bud.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, this reminding me. No more swearing.
No more swearing. Yes, boss. Maybe you and him could go to a Drua game next year. That'd be pretty nice. But again, whether or not he's willing to travel is a question. Oh, he's been to China, but that was a long time ago. Over 10 years ago. When I got married. Oh, Johnny McNichol was so close to that one. That could have been a fifth. That could have been a fifth. Kane to play Leinster would be good. How did the Blues have such bad luck not to be playing this version of the Crusaders last week? Yeah, they've been making a few errors, and yet they've still managed to get 4 tries. I guess that's where they're at. Oh, I did get married in China and of Mum, yeah. My mum came to the wedding, my dad came, my brother and his wife came. One of my aunts and her husband came, and then another one of my aunts came. I think that was pretty much my contingent, plus a bunch of my workmates. So my contingent at the wedding was pretty small. They're going to have time for the line out. Moana Pasifika kicked it out pretty much right on the hooter. Nah, that's it. That's half time. Whew. Here we go. If a ticket is paid for, would he let the money go to waste? I honestly don't know. I don't know with my old man. He's kind of more in his shell than he used to be. I think since he retired. He doesn't like going to new places. It might take some convincing. I don't know. What's the wedding reception feel like in China? Bro, it was busy. Although it was a very, very small wedding by Chinese standards. I think it was 10 tables, each with 10 seats. So not that big. Because you don't do it in a church. You just do it in like a restaurant, hotel. 2 of the tables were mine. 1 table for my family, 1 table for my workmates, and then the other 8 tables were all my wife's friends and family. It was pretty busy. They try to get you drunk, but if you've got like a buddy, like for mine, it was my wife's male cousin, younger cousin. He's a cool dude. When he was supposed to be pouring me alcohol to get me shit-faced, he was pouring me like soft drinks. Otherwise, I would have been absolutely off my head. Because you got to go around to each table and they all want to kind of toast you. So he was being kind of, he was being my wee helper. 100 people, Jimmy, that's a very small wedding. Yeah, I was tiny. Tiny. It is trivia time, Frankie. Stop talking about my wedding. Junaid says 100 people is pretty small. See, Junaid knows. What do we say? It is... Okay, this is not even sports related, but it is related to New Zealand. It says, which is the largest glacier in New Zealand? I did not know the answer to this one, but I've just read it on the cap. 7 regions, says Junaid. No, it's not last week's question. Fox Glacier says Novmum, which is not correct, apparently. Everyone says Fox, Franz Joseph. No, it's not that one either. I never even heard of this one. The one that hasn't been mentioned yet. Charles, yes, it's the one that hasn't been mentioned. Anybody? Tasman, there you go. Talking Parrot. Tasman Glacier. Where the hell's Tasman Glacier? I never even heard of it. We have more than 2 glaciers, Jimmy. I only heard of the Fox and Fred Joseph. There you go. Tum those as well. Yeah. I've seen one of them when I was down on the South Island. I can't remember which one. I think it was near Mount Cook. Which one's that one? Anyway. In Tasman. Yeah, probably. Clearly down south. Makes sense. Yeah, the clue is probably in the name, isn't it? Right. Here comes my dad's halftime report. Oh, the one that hasn't melted yet, Charles. I said mentioned. No, melted. Yeah, they're all melting, aren't they? All right, here we go.
Yeah, we got home in time to watch the game, Mark. I saw the start of it. Well, yeah, the Crusaders are doing well. The Moana Pasifika are brave. The yellow cards, yes, I'm happy with the one that Joe Moody got. I'm not very happy with Gardner's one of Menisi. I think that's a bit marginal, a bit tough.
Doesn't
But
like
then again, it doesn't matter what I think, but I'll be saying since the bloody Stone Age that, we've got to have more of a flexible question about the knocking the ball down accidental, recklessly or on purpose about whether guys are going to get a yellow card, but we'll save that for another day. Mr. Gardner,
12?
I'll
I think
get to
12.
him in a minute because I'm just going to change over. Yeah, Mr. Gardner, the best referee, I think, in Australasia. Well, he's 12 out of 20. He's not doing anything outstanding tonight, but he is not bad at the scrums, not bad at the line-outs, not bad at the mauls, but, man, I wish he would watch the offside rule once or twice by the Crusaders and 3 or 4 times by the Moana Pasifika, and we're going back, to favouring the Drua and the Pacifica. And I'm rather afraid Sonny's got it into his head to do the same. It's not going to cost anybody the match, but, people talk about it all the time. You've got to be on side. And another thing, there's too many penalties. He's a bit average, adequate, and consistent at the breakdown, I feel. I mean, he's not doing anything, majorly wrong, but there's a few little, discrepancies, inaccurabilities, what I call there, I mean, I think it's not one of his best performances.
Still ref
It's
chat.
not one of his worst performances either, so we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, good.
We'll give him a plaster full time if we need to, but, there's been a couple of things, 2 or 3 things that this game I've been unhappy about with him. The Crusaders are looking good. Maybe for a bonus point win. I don't think Moana Pasifika are doing too bad. They just need to use their backs a bit more. The try they got was a good one. Cody Taylor, good. Ethan Blackadder, good. Yep, their forwards are going well, and we always expected they would, even though they've lost one of their locks. Brendan Strange for the All Blacks, well, maybe. He's not bad. He took a big knock, but he just does a few little silly things that annoys me. Every now and then, I think he maybe feels because Scott Barrett's not there, he's got a bit more responsibility to take over and do things. You know what I mean? He did that thing against the Brumbies. He's done a couple of silly things tonight too. So he just needs to watch his P's and Q's because we know what Gardner's like.
Discipline.
He'll, if you get too bloody silly with him, he'll give you a yellow card. He's doing all right tonight, Gardner. But, just a few things he's done which annoy me, which not out of the blue or the box.
Oh my God, so much ref.
Yeah, hello to Mark's subscribers. Keep supporting him. He's doing a good job. Gazza out.
That was 4 minutes of Gazza. That must have been 3 minutes of ref chat, surely. God, that man can talk about the refs. You guys only get a part of it. I get a lot more of it when we're not on air. So, yeah, but good to get his point of view. 12 out of 20 for Angus Gardner. And Quentin Strange annoys him with his discipline. Moana Pasifika is playing okay, but he says the Crusaders are probably good for a bonus point. So there you go. Charles says, I like your dad, Mark. I can see where you get your fairness from. He's a top man. He's certainly a top man. Like, whenever he comes around, like, if he's finished reading this, like, he brings it around for me to read. You know, he chats rugby, chats refs. So he's a good bloke. Good man. Good man. Don't know if he'll travel anymore, but he's a good man, like I said. Good fella. Junaid said, like the stream. If you haven't liked it, do drop it a like, as I said earlier. It helps with YouTube stuff. Why does Gazza hate the refs, David? I don't know. He just loves going on about refs. He always gives them 12 out of 20. He talks more about refs than he does about the game, which some people just like doing. Like, if you look at the comments threads on Reddit or Facebook after any game, there are people who don't really want to talk about the game. They just want to moan about the ref. So that's just part of the culture, I think. That's just part of the game. And my dad's one of those guys who loves talking about the ref. As April 2, he said, we'll give him a blast the full time if we need to. Okay. Scott Barrett, I think they said, Junaid, that he's back training. So hopefully he'll be back if he's already back training, but he's not ready for playtime yet. So anyway, yes. Isaiah Walker-Leawede is certainly one of the other options, but yeah, prone to the odd bit of ill-discipline, I guess. Would love to know Gaz's views on Bryce Lawrence. Yeah, Bryce pretty much ended his career with that game, didn't he? Who's Garrett's favourite players? I don't know if he goes for any favourite players just yet. He's still more of a teams guy. Yeah. But as he's watching more games, I'm sure he'll start to pick up on who some of the players are. Am I going to the Blues game tomorrow? I don't think so. But I do need to get to a game at some point soon. It's been terrible. But maybe one of the playoffs games? Don't know. I want to stream tomorrow's game with the Drua Rebels because I feel like that is going to be the ultimate drama. Even though it's on like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I feel like that's going to be drama central. Charlotte says, hi Mark, I'm in a bath heating my ripped upper quad muscles and dried my hands to ask for the halftime stats. All right, Charlotte. I hope your ripped upper quad muscle is coming right, because that sounds pretty nasty. The bath part sounds good, though. My gosh, the stats, they do need looking at. Possession is 68-32 to the Crusaders. Territory 68-32 to the Crusaders. Clean breaks is 4-1 to the Crusaders. Defenders beaten 10-7. 10-7. Okay, so the Moana Pasifika boys have only had 32% possession, but they've still managed 7 defenders beaten. The one that just got me shocked here is run meters. Run meters is 174 to 37. Not 137, just 37. My gosh, that's low. And 16 of those are Inisi on the right wing. 16 of the 37 meters. My goodness. I mean, they've had no ball, but 37 meters is incredible. I mean, Fergus Burks had 24. Relio Willie has had 24. And those are individual players. That's the entire side, 37 meters. Oof. That's rough. 105 tackles made compared to 34. So Moana Pasifika has been doing a lot of defending. 37 can't be right. I guess it's from that try. That's when he got the majority of them. Yeah. Greetings from Panama. Man, how's it going in Panama, Danjo? The game's been all right, but as I just said with the reading out of the stats, the Crusaders have been squeezing the life out of the Moana Pasifika lads. It's been very, very dominant. Let me just check another website, Junaid, to make sure that the run meters... Yeah, it's 174 to 37, genuinely. Wow. Would you please call the kickoff time for second half? I will do so, Frankie. No problem. No problem. I feel the Blues might win, as much as it pains me to say that. No, I think that game for both teams, maybe it's more important for the Blues tomorrow, just because the Blues will want to hang on to first spot, whereas for the Chiefs, it's more or less just a final game to make sure they're in good form, eh? But they won't want to lose to bloody Auckland, that's for sure. That is for sure. Oh, I've got another bottle cap to open. One more bit of trivia before we start the second half. Question time. I get the feeling this is more geography. Oh no, it's rugby related, but very niche rugby related. Okay, if anyone knows the answer to this, I'll be really impressed. The Lakeside Rugby Club is situated in which small central Otago town? I am from New Zealand and I have no idea about this question. No idea. No, half time, mate. Remember, half time.
Still half time.
Yeah, half time's 15 minutes.
So you're having 2 balls instead of 1?
Yes. One for each half. Is that all right?
Okay. Nearly starting.
Alexandria, Cromwell, Clutha, none of these guesses are correct. Kurau, also not correct. It starts with a G, if that's a clue to anyone. But Glenorchy, there you go, Jim. Well done. If you knew that, well done. If you Googled it, good job on Google for giving you the correct information. There you go. Glenorchy. I've never been there. Right, let us put this back on. How many meters did Julian Savia have in that entire first half? I want to check. Player stats, Moana Pasifika attacking. Julian Savia. Runs, 1. Meters, none.
They got it out in the kick.
There you go. He made 3 tackles and missed 2, so not his greatest half of rugby.
Julian Savia on?
Julian Savia has been on since the start of the game, but he's not done a lot. Yes.
Which team is he on?
He's the Moana Pasifika number 12.
I was on the line before.
Do you enjoy touch rugby?
Yeah.
Said yes.
They stole it. Oh no.
Wasn't it their throw?
Yeah, the Moana Pasifika got the throw.
It's one of the shooting locations for Isengard and Lord of the Rings diagonal. There you go. Some of those locations in Lord of the Rings were genuinely quite stunning. The South Island is a lot more attractive than the North, just in terms of the scenery. It is beautiful. Is that a New York Islanders hat? It is, David. I would say, believe it or not, the NHL currently, and for a few years now, is probably the second sport that I watch. It's a fair way behind rugby in that I barely ever watch a full game of NHL, but I'll put it on in the background sometimes, and I'll watch the highlights and follow the general standings and whatnot. But I watch a lot of rugby, so that's part of the reason I watch not much other sports. I did dabble with a little bit of Formula One the other season, which I used to enjoy way back in the day. I tried to get back into it, but I didn't really succeed in getting back into it. I'd seen that Drive to Survive, so I was all hyped up for a new season of Formula One, and then it didn't last long. It seems like I like the documentary more than I like the actual product.
That's out. Box. Pacific one there?
It's tiny, right at the far end of one of those lakes. I don't know, Jimmy. I haven't done enough.
Second to
Yeah, the second to last. I haven't done anywhere near enough travel around the South Island.
well, on the vision, the Crusaders. Well,
Girl at my work is going to the Touch Rugby World Champions soon. That's pretty cool, Rian. I don't know anybody going to the Touch Rugby World Championships. I didn't even know such a thing existed. The best NHL highlights are on TSN. Okay, that's good to know. I've been watching the official ones. I like those quizzes. The bar down quizzes. Those are quite good value on TSN. Like Jesse and... who else is there? Jesse and Z is the guy who makes the quizzes, and Corwin always bloody wins, and you know, those guys. How to watch it live? You mean the NHL? It's part of my sports package, so I get the most out of that.
There, what's happening? The whistle was just blown.
Morning, dude. How do you think the Super Rugby teams would fare in the Champions Cup? You know, I always used to think, like, well, the Crusaders win every year, so I think they would give a bunch of those top European teams a good run for their money. But this year, we don't have that. So, I think a couple of the teams will do pretty well, like the Canes and the Blues. I think they could do all right. But, Kepu's come off. Probably his last ever game. What a servant to rugby union. Good man.
Last game ever.
I think so, yeah, he's going to retire. Whoa, Xavier. Goodness gracious me, chucking the big bucks. I don't know how much you've watched of the Rebels this season, but do you reckon Josh Canham should get Wallabies selection? Still sad about our club, but nothing we can do about it. Time to move forward. Cheers, man. He seems pretty good from what I've seen of him, but you know me, I would love to see the season stats. I do have the stats on a database, which I've been building throughout the season, but I haven't crunched those numbers just yet. I will do so, for sure. Maybe either I could do like a predictions squad, or then once the squads have been named, we could do like the winners and losers, and then have a look at like some of the guys who were big time losers. Like a few years ago, it was Fergus Lee Warner, back in the Michael Checker days, so quite a few years ago, but like when they kept taking Ned Hannigan, I just couldn't understand it, because in virtually every category, apart from being able to take lineouts, Fergus Lee Warner was a superior. You got more output of Fergus Lee Warner compared to Ned Hannigan, but Checker just kept picking him. But yeah, Canham from what I've seen seems alright. Who's that? Rebels, not Rebels. The Force guy, the captain, Jeremy, whatever his name is. It escapes me at the second. He looks alright. There's a few good locks in Australia at the moment. Oh no! Hotham just scored a worldie. How did he get that ball instead of the Moana Pasifika guys? Oh man, this guy's having a cracking few weeks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
How many tries has he got this game?
That's his first try this game, but he got a try last week against the Blues as well. I mean, look at this one. Turnover ball. Looks up. Has a wee snipe. Chips over the top. Havili kind of stumbles and then he just rips it out of the air. He's got no rights to that ball and yet he still does it. The eyes say he's going left, but then he goes straight with the chip over the top. It's great. Great play. But yeah, Xavier, man, that is sad about your club. I don't think I've ever lost a club in terms of it's gone defunct or bankrupt or anything. So I don't know what that feels like, but it can't be very good. But yeah, what do you do now? Do you pick a second team? You've still got 2 games to go, so you've got time to think about it. But anyway, cheers, man. Much appreciate it. Get out Auckland, visit the small clubs. Grassroots is where it
Oh, I
matters.
missed it. Oh no, you got it.
Got it. I did used to go to club rugby with Gazza. Gazza and I used to go to. He followed college rifles. He used to follow Te Papa, and then he used to follow Grammar Carlton. He's followed a different few clubs here around Auckland, but we haven't been for a few years now.
That's 33-10.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hiding, mate. Looking forward to those videos about the squads. Yeah, international squad naming is always a really interesting time. Playing against the Northern, I'd say Southern Hemisphere teams would do okay over a short comp, but a long season teams would need the cash to have massive squads. Yeah, that's probably true. I think any matchup between North and South would have to be some kind of short little...
He did it. He blocked the kick.
Yeah, like champions of champions kind of comp, couple of weeks. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It looks like Harbour, almost like Harbour pulled up lame Jimmy. I was kind of thinking that, was he just...
Was it because really getting close?
Was it because of the bounce or was it because of his leg? It did look because of his leg, didn't it? But anyway, yeah, mate, they're doing all right. I hope they can score. They just need to score about 5 tries.
Which they won't.
All right, Mum wants you.
Okay.
Grab your book if you're going to read something.
Yeah.
Are you going to read anything? No? You're not staying here to watch TV is what I'm saying, so...
No, I want to watch it if there's a try.
No. This game's done, mate. This game... Watch the other game tomorrow will be the Drua game if you can. But, yeah. Read Harry Potter to us. There you go.
Okay, but you'll have to start from book 4, but in like not even the middle of it.
Yeah, he's already in the middle of book 4, so he can't...
No, not the middle. I've barely got a quarter left.
Okay. He's 3/4 of the way through Harry Potter book 4, whichever book that is.
It's called The Goblet of Fire.
Right, there you go. Hotham going down the Cam Roygaard timeline. Maybe, eh? Bounce of the ball, Darumudi, agree. It was rough. Crusaders are giving me a stomach ulcer as a Force fan, Ali. Yeah! You see, if the Crusaders get this win with the bonus point and then the Drua somehow lose, it means you guys need a bonus point against the Brumbies. College Rifles under 11 Diggers. We went undefeated the whole season and lost the final to a team we beat twice. Under 11s and you still remember it. That is brutal. That is brutal. Goblet of Fire is indeed fire. He told me he was taking a break the other day from it because it was getting to a part which was a bit scary. So I don't know if he's still reading at the moment. But he freaking loves reading. He is a reading machine. Oh, here goes Macca Springer. Oh, man, that's half the field. He's just gone up more. Crusaders are going to score again. Oh, no, good defense from Moana Pasifika. Blackadder makes such a difference to the Crusaders. D. Yeah, man, he's been incredible. I remember I picked him. Planet Rugby asked me to make a pick for players, I think at the start of last year, like players who were going to have a big season. And I picked Blackadder, and then he just kept getting injured. He's just had such a rotten time with injuries, eh? Xavier should pick the Canes. Similar to Melbourne. Is it? Is it similar to Melbourne? What's the similarities between Melbourne and Wellington? I've been to both. The only thing that I didn't like about Melbourne was the almost propaganda-like tram system, which kept trying to tell me their coffee is like the best in the world. I swear, every time I got on one of the trams, they'd be like, did you know about our coffee? We really love our coffee in Melbourne. Our coffee is great. We have really great coffee. Really great coffee. Have you tried our coffee? It got kind of irritating. Wellington likes to think it's similar to Melbourne. The only thing they've got in common is they both have good coffee. Even Jimmy's on the coffee propaganda machine. I tried Melbourne's coffee. It was alright. I wouldn't have drunk it and gone, wow, it's the best coffee I've ever had. But anyway, it was coffee. Star Leo, man, is it similar in the sense that they are way too many cafes and kind of artsy? Right, maybe they're both a little bit hipster. I see what you're saying. Melbourne coffee is average, cool city though. One thing I didn't know is that in Australia, you guys call a fluffy a baby chino. I felt like a real dickhead when I went to order because my kids were, was my son. I didn't have my daughter at that time. We went to Melbourne when my son was like 2? Maybe 1? Nah, 2. And you know, when you get kids from the coffee shop, you get them a little drink. It's just frothed up milk. In New Zealand, we call it a fluffy. Which is maybe not the best name, but in Australia, it's called a baby chino. Yeah, I described it to them. I was like, can I get a fluffy? And they looked at me like I was asking for some kind of sexual favor. And then I said, it's just like frothed up milk for a kid. She's like, oh, baby chino. Yeah, get me one of those. Get me one of those. Melbourne has great Vietnamese and Chinese food. Jimmy, you know I lived in China for 7 years, man. I've even got a channel about it called 2 Cents on Tour. Oh, I don't have a link. But I'll have to try the Melbourne Chinese food to see if it's any good. Oh, man. Loose line-out ball. Errors in this game are still a bit too high despite the scoreline. Loved Melbourne when I went. Wellington is my home city, but the weather sucks. Yeah. I thought a fluffy was a fart. That's what it is in Bluey. Oh, there you go. In New Zealand, a fluffy is a frothed milk beverage for children. Oh, there you go. 2 Cents on Tour. Check there. Check that out later. Junaid's the man with the links. He's a champion. Genuinely some interesting videos in there, I hope. If you want to see me speaking Chinese anyway, that's the way to do it. So basically you asked the barista in Australia for a fart. Yes, she looked at me puzzled. Very puzzled. Does Auckland have a Chinatown community? Auckland doesn't have a full-on Chinatown like some other cities have, but it certainly has areas where there's like a collection of Chinese restaurants or shops. Like there's one road in central Auckland which is very lively with like different shops, restaurants with different there's like a Xi'an Chinese noodle shop, there's a Wuhan shop, there's a Shanghai shop. Yeah, a bunch of Chinese restaurants. Oh, and then Botany as well. East Auckland is Howick traditionally, but Howick when I went there is pretty white. Like I went to Howick when I go for a coffee or something, and it was just all like retired white people. Ah, Dallas McLeod's just scored a try. There you go. I watched 2 Cents on Tour a couple of times. If it was all food, you'd watch it more. Well, I recorded a snacks episode with Tony this week. I brought all my Chinese snacks back, and we ate them and reacted to them. The only bad thing is we had our technical difficulties, which we have. So like really early on, the microphones lose battery power. Oh, it's a good try from the Crusaders. The microphone from the camera is doable, but it's not as nice. But still, I'll edit that up, and it'll be to your YouTube viewing pleasure at some point soon. It'll be the first 2 cents until video. It's not a tour. It's a tour of Tony's house, but yeah. 2 cents and Shellman, yeah, NYC is the content we need. He always does those, like, those people are talking about me, and I don't know, they don't know I can speak Chinese videos, but he does a lot more languages than just Chinese. I love the fluffy mistake, Mark. Have you made many similar mistakes in China or worse? I used to keep calling one girl in my class when I was a teacher. I kept calling her shit because the Chinese word for stone and the Chinese word for shit are kind of the same, but with a different tone, and I was getting them around the wrong way. One is shi, that's a stone, and one's shi, which means shit. So I kept saying it around the wrong way. So every time I would read the roll and I would get to her, it just sounded like I was calling her shit. So that used to get some amusement. But anyway. Some guy on YouTube has a walking around Auckland channel. Yeah, I don't appear in those videos though. I just walk around. If you had to see any Aussie side win the comp, who would you want? I mean, the Rebels, bro. How much of a middle finger to the rest of the world would that be if they could get the job? They've never even made the playoffs. Them or the Force. I mean, the Force aren't even in the playoffs, but it would be so great to see. Reds, Brumbies, and Waratahs have all won it before. I would genuinely love... I mean, the Brumbies seem the best prospect this year. I would love to see an Aussie side win it. I think it would be good for the game. If my Blues can't win it. I wouldn't like to see... Oh, the Moana Pasifika guys have just lost their freaking lineup. I wouldn't like to see my Blues lose to the Brumbies in a final. Put it that way. They've never made the playoffs. That is correct, Junaid. Never. I mean, unless you count a Super Rugby AU qualifying final, which I don't really count. Reds for me. Les Kiss looks like a cool guy. He's certainly got the Reds humming, doesn't he, since he got back from the UK. Brumbies realistically need to come second to win. Yeah, probably. They'll want home advantage because they look a different side in Canberra, don't they? Worst transfer you've seen in the lineup in a wee while. That was pretty bad, wasn't it? I've been watching a lot of Chef Wang Gang and Blondie in China. I have watched a lot of Blondie in China. I don't know that first guy, but I've seen Blondie in China. She's overwhelmingly positive is the only thing that sometimes grinds my gears. I must be just a real miserable person, but she's just so happy about everything all the time. Sometimes it's a little off-putting. Have you ever watched Uncle Roger? I have seen Uncle Roger. I've also seen Stephen He, the emotional damage. That guy, he's quite funny. It's okay, nobody knows you're here. She's looking for a book. What? Go. Did you find it? Do you think we'll see the Hawaris next year or just 11 teams? I do think it's tough to get a team off the ground in this kind of time. It might be too much. Do you remember when they were bandying about the idea of Moana Pasifika. They couldn't get players to contracts because they didn't have their license. Like, they would talk to players and they would tell them that they were going to get started, and they couldn't give guys contracts because they weren't sure they were going to be in the competition. Yeah, that part of it I think is hard. Then they would lose guys because guys would get firm offers somewhere else. So, yeah, I think it'll be tough. And a lot of those guys will still be under contract for more than a year. But, yeah, I don't know. Did she do a 30-minute fake brewery tour? Is that the video I did? Yeah, I went to kind of a fake brewery. That's a 2 cents a tour as well. It's called Not a Beer Museum. I know I did it in a Leinster jersey. Just FYI. That was some bullshit, that. I went all that way in the freaking rain. I did get a free beer, but that's about all I can say about it. Uncle Roger made me grow a dislike for Jamie Oliver. Yeah. Is it Jamie Oliver that didn't react really well to his criticism? But Gordon Ramsay took it quite well in the spirit of it, right? Was it a teacher's day for every school in Auckland? My kids certainly had the day off today. Took them to the park. They had a wee scoot around. Jules says, just joining after work, going to script so far then. Yeah, Jules, Moana Pasifika were up 3-0 at one point, believe it or not, but wouldn't you know it, the Crusaders have got a pretty good forward pack. They've scored some tries from mauls, and they've got just a pretty good team generally now that they've got some of their big guns back. So, yeah, they've been piling on a few points. Moana Pasifika had 37 run meters in the first half, which was not much. Yes, I watched the full episode. I appreciate that, man. YouTube loves a bit of good watch time. That video was alright, I think. I think the one where I tried to see the cherry blossoms is better, where I followed that lady into the tunnel against oncoming traffic. That was uncharacteristic. I'm not that much of an adventurous guy. But that lady was like, follow me, I'll take you in. We went into a freaking tunnel going the wrong way against traffic. Yeah. That's a 2 cents on tour classic. There you go. I appreciate you guys. Make me feel good. Because those videos take me ages to edit. And very few people watch them. So the fact that you guys watch them makes me feel good. I think they're good videos. Gordon took it on the chin. Oliver never reacted. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why. Jamie Oliver is also notably dislikable. Isn't he quite like... He comes off a bit kind of arrogant, doesn't he? I don't know. Jamie Oliver's a gun at British and Italian, F's around too much with the Asian dishes. Maybe that's what it is. Going to check out your On Tour channel. Didn't know it existed. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Basically, what it is me in China going to some places. And I think often the highlights of the videos is when I meet some cool people and I speak to them in Chinese. They tell me some stuff. It's often quite interesting, I find. But anyway, it's not rugby, that's for sure. Liam watches too, so you must be good. He rarely watches anything I like on YouTube. Oh man, I'm getting all the warm fuzzies today. I appreciate that from Liam as well. Great to see Cullen Grace, Junaid. Cullen Grace is one of those weird ones, where his career looked like it was going to go like that, and then it kind of... I feel like he had one season off injured. He's not been able to kind of get back to that same level, but he's... I guess we got a lot of good Lucy's, but yeah, there's got to be a conversation about it at some point. Koba's just propped in. Oh no, we weren't we hoping the Crusaders would lose? We were hoping it, but it was always going to be unlikely playing Moana Pasifika down in Christchurch. But if the Fijian Drua win tomorrow, this doesn't matter. But if they lose to the Rebels, then this becomes very important. The Crusaders are getting their end done anyway. I enjoyed the video with the fella telling you life story or cutting your hair. Man, I appreciate that as well. That guy was interesting, eh? He's like, I dropped out of school and I went to Yunnan and heaps of people using drugs and all this stuff. It was crazy to hear from like a Chinese hairdresser. I find Jamie Oliver and Ramsey both pretty unbearable. I think I would take Ramsey over Oliver. At least Ramsey can be funny. Watch the couple and intend on watching more. I appreciate that, Ian. People are so mean to Jamie Oliver. People don't like people telling them to stop feeding crap to their kids. That's probably true. Oh, what a chip through for Havili. Come on, Moana, get another try. I got to admit, my son's school doesn't have a policy about junk food. They do have a policy about soft drink. You're not allowed to give your kids soft drink. The only drink available at school is water. But the kids can bring whatever they want for lunch. And man, some of those kids eat some junk. Like, kids just eat like a packet of crisps or chips. Potato chips for lunch and stuff. And it's like, what? Potato chips is not a lunch. But anyway. The biggest legend you met on Two Cents on Tour was that recurring shop owner. Starleo, I agree. That guy was a crack up. There's one more video which is going to have him in it. But yeah, I saw him one more time. That guy was a crack up. Grace is a brilliant Super Rugby player, but too slow for the ABs. It's an interesting call, Jimmy. Favorite aspect of Chinese culture? Well, it's easy to appreciate the food, man. The food's pretty good. Most people always just want to talk about food. It's like a key topic. Like if you ask someone, hey, where's that local like historical tower around here? And like, who built it? They'll be like, I think it's over there. I don't know who built it. Maybe Kublai Khan. You lucky if you get that. But if you ask them, hey, where's the best restaurant that serves like the local noodles? They'll be like, well, there's one over there, but they're really expensive. And there's one over there, but they'll be closed at this time. And there's one over there. Oh, those guys are great. You can take bus 347 to get over there. Like, they'll give you so much information. They love food. Food. So much about food. They love food. There's a YouTube video of you getting a haircut. Yes, Junaid, on 2 Cents on Tour. There is literally a video of me getting a haircut and talking to the hairdresser for ages. Right, 15 minutes to go in this game. The game seems to have kind of stalled at the moment. Moana Pasifika have had a little bit of a boost. But yeah, they're not coming back. Crusaders have rung a few changes as well. Do we have more depth at 10 or 12 right now? I generally think that we're more potential at 10 than 12. That's a good point, man, because a few of these young 10s who haven't been tested at international level look pretty good, eh? Like, to the point where Harry Plummer even looks pretty good. I don't know if he's like All Blacks conversation good, maybe training squad good, but like, yeah, like in the Canes, and even that young fella for the Highlanders looked alright before he took that head knock. What's his name? Have you ever came to the US for a vacation, David? Sadly, I have only ever been to New Zealand, Australia, and China. I have bypassed through Singapore, Malaysia, but not really left the airport. Cam Miller, that's the guy. Thank you, Diagonal. That's the dude. Like, I'm not saying he needs to go into the All Blacks straight away, but he looks promising, right? I got to come to the UK. Yes, this is true. One of these days. Maybe once my kids are a little bit older, I can get away with it. Proctor is decent in the midfield for sure. Wicked boot on him. He just needs to work on his attacker. But yeah, still, I mean, he's only just emerging as a Super Rugby player, let alone an international player. So for sure, he needs a season or two of Super Rugby. Yeah, but he certainly has looked the business like kind of chucked into the deep end at times. But no, he stood up really well. Quite a big trip even to Honolulu. Exactly, yeah. New Zealand's kind of at the arse end of nowhere. Like the closest places are like 2 or 3 hours away. So, yeah. David, I haven't done any MLR reviews this year. No, sadly. I talked a little bit about it last week, but just the interest levels in the competition, at least on my channel, aren't big enough to kind of justify, sadly. Antarctica's pretty close. There you go. You need to visit Leinster Training Academy. You need to push them over the line with some motivational New Zealandisms. Maybe that's it. Maybe they'll let me in with my camera. Go for a walk around. Oh man, the Moana Pasifika scrum just got monstered. You need to watch up. McNichol with the chip. Oh, Macca Springer. That's 40 points. Ay, ay, ay. Not sure what's happening with New Zealand rugby. Yeah, Jimmy was talking about it a bit before. He knows a bit more about it than I do, but yeah, there were basically two proposals for the overhaul of the board. One was based on the recommendation of the review, which said there needs to be like a large-scale overhaul, and then there was a second proposal, which was more of like a... The media was calling it status quo, but Jimmy said it's more like it's kind of a halfway measure, so yeah, they went with that one. Is the closest place Antarctica? I don't know what the closest place to fly to is. From Auckland, it's usually Australia or the Pacific Islands, which are still 2-3 hours away. Which really sucks when you guys in like Europe can go like 2-3 hours can get you to so many countries. Oh, I hit the post. 43-10.
The score is
43-10. Tasmania, surely. Does Tasmania have an international airport? Not that I'm aware of.
40.
Hey, what are you doing?
Just watching for a little bit.
Yeah, get out of here. You're not supposed to be in here.
Aw.
43-10. This game's over, mate. No one. It's definitely going to be the Crusaders that win. Hopped to Paris for the Rugby World Cup flight. Took an hour. See, I look at that with envy. An hour I can get to the South Island. Or the plane could crash in the middle of the Tasman Sea. Yeah. Do you think the Rebels will save us tomorrow, Oscar? No. I want the Drua to win. The Drua need to win. I can't... You know the only thing that makes me want the Crusaders to get through is because if anybody wins it without having to have knocked out the Crusaders, then there's always going to be a nagging doubt. Like, sure, you won it, but you didn't have to beat the Crusaders. You know what I mean? Like, or, you know, the Crusaders didn't even make the knockouts. So, you look at bringing the kids to Australia for the next World Cup. I've already told the missus that we got to go to the next World Cup, and I asked my parents. My mum said she's happy to look after the kids. It's magic. Magic. Do you miss the South African rugby teams in Super Rugby? I do miss part of the aspects of the old Super Rugby for sure. But then again, I also watch the URC, so it's not like I don't see them anymore. But yeah, for sure, there's certainly part of it. There was something special about hearing like Hugh Bladden going through the names list of like, you know, when the Bulls were about to take on the Crusaders or something. That was just cool. Like, I grew up with that, man. I used to get up in the night to watch some of those games. So yeah, I miss parts of it for sure. An hour usually halfway. You're between Palmy and Weller usually. You would probably know. You do a lot more traveling than I do. Funny if the Drua lose and then the Force get a bonus point to go to the finals. Yeah, can you imagine? Oh, another scrum penalty to the Crusaders. Can you imagine the Force getting a win, let alone a bonus point win? That'd be incredible. Random said the Crusaders need to win by 38 to get a points difference to 0. Last season, the Crusaders finished with a negative points difference. It must be the 90s, surely. That's how the Blues won Super Rugby in 2021. Yeah, the old Trans-Tasman comp. We played the Highlanders because the Crusaders didn't make the final. Who's going to replace the Rebels? I haven't heard any talk about the Cheetahs. I had heard some talk about the Jaguares as a possibility. Cheetahs would be an interesting one. They're still playing in Europe, though, in the old Challenge Cup. Hugh Bladden, I remember when he got pissed and fell off his hotel balcony and almost killed himself, fell off 3 floors. I heard he likes a wee tipple. Like, I heard he likes a drink. A few quiets. But I don't know if that's true. But yeah, that might be goes back to that story. There's 7 minutes to go in this game. The Crusaders have got the bonus point they wanted. Moana Pasifika haven't scored any points in the second half, which is a bit rough. Still think Super Rugby Trans-Tasman is invalid. It's not... Yeah, there's something not right about that one, eh? I was there for the final when we won it, but it still feels a bit weird. Remember the Cheetahs being the Crusaders' bogey team? Really? I don't remember that. I just remember there was that one Cheetahs team which had like Connie Oosthuizen, it had Boom Prinsloo, it had Sarel Pretorius. Who was their team? Johan Hussein, I think, right? At 10? Willie LaRue at fullback. Like, they had a bloody good team, man. Really, they were so fun to watch. They were the most fun team to watch. Is Super Rugby and New Zealand Rugby declining at a rapid rate? I don't think so. I think they're ticking along all right. International results will always be the key test. It'll be interesting to see how Razor goes with the ABs anyway. Heard something about the Cheetahs returning a while ago. It seemed like a random passing idea, but if I remember correctly, they were based in Perth. That'd be cool. Cheetahs up against Force from Perth. That'd be fascinating. If Super Rugby only has 11 teams, will the playoffs go back to 6 teams? I still reckon it'd be 8. It'd just be 3 teams that make the playoffs, which would be ridiculous. But anyway. How many points for a draw? I think 2. Live Ladder has the Crusaders in 8th in the playoffs on -6 points on the points difference. Whereas the teams around them, the Rebels have -126 and the Drua -123. Bloody hell. This has probably been the best Super Rugby since COVID. I think so. Yeah, I reckon so as well. Imagine if the Cheetahs got a bigger crowd in Perth. How would that work though, eh? Cheetahs players would have to base themselves in Australia for... Where would they train? Would they ever go to Bloemfontein? No. Weird. It'd be weird. I see Hubbard on the back of the shirts. What's Hubbard's? Hubbard's is a breakfast cereal manufacturer. Yeah, he was the mayor of Auckland for a while as well. Ian Hubbard, I think his name is. Oh, Crusaders scrum. This time it goes down. You ever had a game cancelled due to poor weather in Super Rugby? Not that I can recall. Oh, Moana Pasifika has got a penalty. I remember they canned the game when there was the terrorism down at Christchurch. I remember seeing a couple of South African games postponed due to lightning, but not cancelled. They played the game in the fog. There's been a few. Oh, the earthquake, of course. Well, they had to move the Crusaders. The Crusaders had to play like a nomad role for a season, didn't they? Loads of South Africans and Zimbabweans in Perth. A lot of Kiwis there as well. Serial Magnet Mayor sounds kind of dystopian. From memory, Gus, he only lasted 1 term and then he was out. So, yeah. Roast beef or lamb? I would have said beef years ago, but now I am fully a lamb man. So, yeah, I'll go lamb all day long. Easy choice. Cheetahs play 3 games a year now, man. That doesn't seem right. Season this year has been so good, but the damn marketing has been so bad. Interestingly, they reckon like all the key areas, apart from bums on seats, are actually pretty good. Like not attendances, like viewership and all that stuff. Like it's all looking positive. Just they can't get people to go to the games. That's the only negative. I heard you can make like 90k as a bus driver in Perth. Mate, when I was at the High Court, way back when I was in my early 20s, one of my colleagues genuinely left her role as a court like administrator to drive some kind of vehicle. I can't remember. But it was a shitload more than she was getting as an administrator in New Zealand. At least double. Yeah, we weren't on big money. I think I was on $45,000 like in 2006. Yeah, and she was getting way more to drive some kind of vehicle around the mines in Perth. Hi, Mark, and yes, that was the Crusaders season where they made the final. That was 2011, eh? Peak Quaid and Guinea. Yeah, that was quite a year for the Reds. Wouldn't a team in Japan work better logistically? Yeah, it would logistically. Jules, for sure. But the Japanese seem pretty happy with their own little kind of domestic comp at the moment. I don't know that they would have any interest. There's a marketing issue in Western Australia. There's absolutely no advertising for any force game. Yeah. The marketing for Super Rugby lax compared to what they do for the rugby league, which is part of the reason there's always those comparisons. Saw a stat that only 1% of people in South Africa watch Super Rugby. Not surprising, I guess, seeing as there's no South African teams anymore. I would say it's probably true in the reverse for New Zealanders watching like the URC and the Champions Cup. The Champions Cup final was on the other day and it literally didn't make the news. Just like I'm sure when Super Rugby is played, like the final in the Irish newspapers is not going to make the news. So, yeah, but yeah, there's always that kind of divide. Like I remember when James Haskell came to New Zealand to play a season for the Highlanders, he was kind of amazed by how there's not really any following of the European rugby down here in NZ. So, yeah. Are there more Kiwis in Australia than New Zealand? No, but there are a lot of Kiwis in Australia. Alright, we just hit 80 minutes. It's kind of a crap second half from Moana Pasifika, but if you'd asked me before the game what kind of scoreline do you expect, it was always going to be a big victory for the Crusaders, wasn't it? Changed from 88% to 1%. But I guess, you'd have to look how many South Africans were watching the Pro 14 before the South African teams went there. Probably 1%, right? I think it makes pretty logical sense. I'm in the minority. You're in Australia and New Zealand. You are like a unicorn. There's a few of yous. Can't blame them. New Zealand is cold. Honestly, when I was a kid, I think I've mentioned this before, the rugby was always on in the afternoon. That's why my dad always took me, and it's why I haven't taken my son to any games yet, because the kickoff time's always bloody 9 o'clock. Not 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, which means I'm not going to get home until closer to 10, because the game's not going to finish until 9 o'clock. Like, it's 8:56 now. This game started at 7:05. My son's already in his pajamas and getting ready for bed, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a difference. Junaid, I plan to stream, yes. The afternoon game. Fijian Drua against the Rebels. That's the big game. That's the game. That's the game for tomorrow. So, yeah. That's the plan. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure how I feel about this game. The Crusaders have done their bit, but there wasn't really any big surprise. As I said, it kind of went exactly according to the script. But yeah, Fijian Drua against the Rebels is going to be a big one tomorrow. The next game on is the Reds against Waratahs. I may not watch that. I may watch part of it first half. Maybe then I'm going to go to bed because there's a big game on tomorrow in England between Northampton and Saracens, which also should be a pretty interesting one. But, yeah, April 2, that game tomorrow is going to be on a stupid o'clock for you, so maybe give that one a miss. It's like 2 in the afternoon for me, which will be like 3 in the morning for you, so... for a regular season game is maybe not worth it, but yeah, Sekopi Kepu, his last game, that's one thing, which is at least a bit of a special one. But anyway, cheers guys for coming along. It's been fun. Crusaders still in it with a couple of games to play, but anyway. That's my dad. All right. I was going to go, but I'll see what my dad has to say. He sent me a couple of minutes of messages.
Yeah, well, support Max Channels, guys. Doing a great job there.
There you go.
Referee 12 out of 20.
12 out of 20. Standard.
Line-out's okay. Scrum's okay. Ball's okay.
He sounds like he wants to go to bed.
Offside are all below average. Breakdown, confusing. That's about all I'll say about Mr. Gardner's performance. 12 out of 20. Yeah, well, the Crusaders, they deserved to win. They were coasting in the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they get a semi-final spot, well, that's going to depend on the Drua beating the Rebels tomorrow, which I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the pesky Raiders, well, Crusaders might just miss out.
Hope so.
But anyway, permutations to come tomorrow. What do I think of this game? Well, I thought Moana Pasifika were brave. They tried hard.
Yeah, 13 out of 20 style there would be too much.
Even though they got a bit of a high, they certainly didn't disgrace themselves. They gave it everything, and that's all you can ask. The only thing I say, which I've been saying for the last 3 seasons, use your backs more, get more tries. You might not win so many games, well, they weren't for this year, but they could have maybe won a couple more. Have they got the right coach? Yes, they have. Have they got the right personnel? Well, that's debatable. But with what they've got, they've done pretty well this year. I think this is their best year, 4 wins.
4 wins.
So, I think they could count this season as a partial success.
Okay.
Yeah, the Crusaders, well, they've had a bad season, but they finished strong.
Mm-hmm.
They got Fergus Burke back, and I'm really sad to see him going overseas because he's a good first 5. And we're going to miss him, and we're going to miss Aidan Morgan. He's another one that's gone over to play for over in the UK, and we haven't got a lot of first 5s.
Oh, he just called. Oh, I guess
So
Ulster is the UK.
Guys going, we're going to miss them. I wish they'd stayed around, but they've chosen their field, so let them go.
Mm-hmm.
We can't stop them. Well, if the Crusaders make the quarterfinals, I think they'll have to be lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, the Drua will need to lose.
It's interesting to see how far they go. I mean, they've hit the bloody strips at the right time of the season, but the wrong time of the season.
Mm.
And they fully deserve their win tonight. They just showed us how good they can be. And we've always known that. Because there's about 7 games that they could have won, but they lost by 7 less points. So they've had a bad season. Should they get rid of Rob Penny? Well, they will have a review. That's debatable. Would I get rid of him? Well, I'd have to have a think about it. And there's going to be a lot of change of personnel next year. Last but not least, well, Moana Pasifika need a few more of the big guns to help them out.
That's true.
To get them maybe up to 6 or 7 wins a season. And the Crusaders, their under-20 team won the competition, so they got a lot of guys coming through for the Crusade. How they'll do next year, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Did I enjoy this game? Yes, I did.
Doesn't sound that happy.
I thought the Crusaders could have probably won by more, but they sort of shut up short after 70 minutes.
That's true.
Perfectly understandable because they got their bonus point. Yeah, if they hadn't beaten the Brumbies, they would be in the finals, but that bloody Quinton Strange penalty try over at the end, that could be costly, but I think he's good enough to be an All Black. Maybe not starting, but certainly in the squad. And Scott Parris not fit here, so he could be in trouble. But that's down the line. Anyway, won't bore you anymore. Gazza Mania, Roger Mania, out. Bye.
Well, there you go. Just got in time. Old Gazza with his views. He doesn't sound that thrilled about the game. He's probably right. The Crusaders, I think, did ease up at the end of the game, but the game was well and truly won. It all comes down to tomorrow's game with the Drua taking on the Rebels. And Junaid says the Drua have only lost twice in their history at home, which is nuts. So, yeah. But all right, folks, if you're going to come along tomorrow, it's the Drua game against the Rebels, 2 o'clock, at least here in NZ. I think it could be a pretty good one. But, yes, Crusaders got what they needed done for this one. If they do make the quarterfinals, nobody's going to want to play the Crusaders. And I think Gaz's right. Moana Pasifika probably do need a few more signings because the fact that, like, you know, Julian Savia, Lelia Whānau Kepa, all these kind of guys who are a bit past their prime are their kind of star players is not... I mean, Havili Talitui is pretty good, but, yeah, they need a bit more depth, don't they? Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Cheers for coming along, and I'll see you guys, some of yous, tomorrow. Take care.